all wondering.
It's left me wondering too, because it also creates an opportunity. You see, the actors don't know anything until from week to week, so they really do keep us in the dark. So I mean, they could go down that road. Like, I don't know. I know as much about my future really as you guys do. I'm usually about a week ahead. That's not much.
Well, since none of us have seen this episode, can you tease this episode, All My Children, for our readers and for us?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the key thing about this forthcoming episode is really just the unity between the siblings is they're going to have to dispense with any of their sort of old differences in order to sort of overcome their mother. That's really the teaser.
Well, we've seen Elijah's relationship with Klaus. What is his relationship with Finn and Cole, the newly awake brothers?
Again, I just need to say, I don't know much, and people sort of appear. It's really strange for me because suddenly an actor appears on set and you're like, oh, that's who I've been talking about, and you don't know quite often until they arrive, For example, I was saying things like, you better look out, you'll have Cole to deal with. When I was doing that thing with Klaus on the coffin and he removes the dagger from, I said, you'll have Cole to deal with. I hadn't met Cole at that point. Cole wasn't even in the coffin, I didn't know. Oh, wait a second, was he? I don't think he was. I don't believe I'd met him when I was doing these lines. So it was, or I think I'd seen an image of him. And in my mind, like Cole was, and I actually think that, Nathan's tremendous, but in my mind, the way we were describing him, he was, this Leviathan, this monster. I was like, what is he going to be? Like, it's going to be this kind of ogre, because there was so much talk of, the threat of him. So, my relationship with them, to get back to the question, is kind of what we guess it is, kind of just before it happens. And you gotta, you have to be on your toes.
What will it do to him when he finds out what his mother is planning for her kids?
It'll destroy him, I'd imagine, but he has to do anything he can in order to survive. And I think his loyalty is probably greater to Klaus at this stage than and his siblings, even through all of the betrayals and everything, than to his mother, who's basically been extinct for most of his existence. I mean, it's almost a pipe dream to have a kind of, to have them all together, including their mother, once he learns that of that betrayal.
Is there a timeline for how long the spell is going to, or this process of trying to get rid of the kids, how many episodes this is going to take over?
I know as much as you do. It's, what's been insinuated so far is that they're bound together in life and death at this point. That's all I know.
And Elijah does have an interesting sort of fragile alliance with the Salvatore brothers. Can you preview or discuss that, where that's headed?
Yeah, I love it. That's a lovely phrase. I'm going to steal that. The fragile alliance. That's so pretty. The thing about, I think he just hopes that Elena's safe at this point. And I think that he'll do anything he can to maintain that. And I don't think that he knows that nobody will do that better than those boys, even though they are knuckleheads.
We haven't really seen Elijah drink from anyone. He just rips out hearts. Why do you think that is? And are we
I don't know, and I'm eager to see why it's revealed. It was really cool, actually. This is a testament to how awesome Julie Black is. A few weeks ago, I had a scene which I won't tell you which one it was, but there was a scene where Elijah was going to flare up and vamp up and the full thing. As soon as you get cast as any of these vampires, they fit you straight away with all your things. And, so you're ready to go when they need you to be ready to go. And this is how cool Julie is. I called her and said, hey, or I wrote to her and said, hey, just so you know, there seems to be this sort of growing faction of fans who are fascinated by the fact that he hasn't fed, and that we haven't seen him sort of vamp up. And I just want to offer to you as the storyteller, because it's your domain and not mine, like, maybe you want to hold on to that mystery, maybe you want to keep that up your sleeve. And she hadn't really, because she's got a million things to think about, had kind of considered, but hadn't really thought about it in the broader sense. And she was just awesome. She just said, yeah, actually, I do want to hang on to that. I want to hang on to that. So your guess is as good as mine at this point as to what it might be. I have an idea, and Julie has some ideas that she's discussed with me, but until they're set in stone, I can't say.
Where do you think it derives from that Elijah feels like he's the protector of his family? He's their biggest champion. He wants to kind of ascertain if there's any threat against them, or even against Elena. He's like this self-appointed, I'm going to champion everyone kind of person.
That's such an interesting question. I mean, I think that, look, he's probably always felt like his brother was chosen, you know, because of this sort of birthright thing and this hybrid aspect or whatever, this hybrid aspect of Klaus. And I think that when you have somebody near you that's sort of destined for something like that, I mean, I personally in my own life assume that role. I mean, I can understand his desire to be a servant at that point to something that's greater than him, because it's not his birthright, you know. It comes from another time too. I think there must be a sense of him that feels that Klaus is chosen, you know, or at least he felt that once upon a time. And maybe when he felt that Klaus could maintain some degree of nobility, he probably thought that they could do something incredible together. And yet, yet saying that, and here I go wandering again, I don't think, you know, Elijah's no innocent, you know. He aspires to morality, but he's vicious, you know. I think there was real power in making sure that his brother, making sure that his brother, the prophecy regarding him was sort of fulfilled. And I think that serving that is in his best interest, you know. For all intents and purposes, they're these clandestine kings.
Will Elijah still be so loyal to Elena once he finds out her role in his mother's plan?
I doubt it. But then again, you know, he's able to forgive Klaus for some atrocities, you know, and I think that if he thinks people are doing things in their best interest, then he's probably relatively forgiving. We just have to see.